Hello, welcome to Empyrean's Oracle. Today we're going to be doing a reading on what is coming in for you. Okay, so you know that this reading is for you if you've been going through a bit of like inner turmoil. You've been having trouble making decisions, or maybe there's like a really big decision that you've just been putting off. You just don't really know what can sway you in either direction. You could even be in a situation where you just recently made a big decision and now it is like affecting you. You're healing from it. Healing from the effects of that decision. We have third chakra, which is the solar plexus. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't really know a lot about the solar plexus. I think it has to do with like creativity, is it? Or that might be sacral. I'm not too sure. It can also be, I think about like positivity, optimism, and things like that. Honestly, not too sure. But let's continue on with the reading. What are you currently bringing in? Ooh. We have the Ace of Swords. So you are going, if you haven't made a decision yet, something like a piece of information is going to be given to you, or something is going to be shown to you that will sway you and that will make you 100% confident in the decision you're going to make. Okay, because so it can go either way. One group of people haven't made the big decision yet, the other half have made it, and now they're brokenhearted. So yeah, you're going to get that information that's going to sway you. And it can even be something that like the information you receive, like you're going to be so confident about it that you're going to be glad you didn't pick the other one. It's almost like you dodged a bullet. Like maybe someone tells you something about a job you were planning to get, or maybe someone tells you something about a person you were planning to pursue, and it's like, thank God that person told me this, because if they hadn't, I don't know what type of situation it would be. Or maybe you even found information on your own, like you went digging or something. The Seven of Cups. For those of you who ended up making a decision without all the information you needed to make an informed decision, it's almost like now you're at a place where you're trying to find a way to feel confident in your decision, even though you kind of feel like it wasn't the right one. We have Strength and the Tower. Yeah, it's like you're trying to put on a brave face. That's why the heart is healing. It's like you knew it was the wrong decision, but you're trying to find a way to stick with it. You're like, you don't seem like a quitter. You seem like someone who, if you made a decision, you're just going to suck it up and deal with it, even if you really don't want to continue with it. But I think that you are so not supposed to have made this decision that you are going to be pulled out of whatever environment or situation that the decision led you to. Okay, because Tower moment is like it completely knocks you on your butt to force you to do something different. We have the Nine of Swords. I feel like for both groups, if you had information that led you to make a particular decision, or you didn't have all the information, you're anxious, which makes sense. It's like you're still going to be second guessing your decisions, because it might take a while for you to get to the point where you're like, I'm glad I made that decision. It might take a while for you to find out the information about the alternative decision that will make you go, I'm so glad I didn't choose that. But in the meantime, you still wonder, did I make the right decision? I'm gonna stop pulling from this one. There's this one. We have Eagle, see from a high perspective, which fits perfectly with this reading. Because it's like there's something about this situation that you... Well, obviously you don't know everything about the situation because you don't have all the information. But it's like even if you do have all the information, you'd think the decision is going to take you one place when it's going to take you even higher. Like this is like someone who is deciding between two jobs and they think that both the jobs have similar trajectories because they basically are like the same job. But one is going to take them so much higher and to a more stable place than the other one, even though they look the same on the outside. We have the Swords. Cups. I know Pentacles, guys. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused because some of these cards... No, this is Sword. Oh, this is Pentacles. This is Two of Pentacles. It feels like whatever decision this is, it feels life or death. Like, it feels like after I make this decision, I will literally either love myself or hate myself. I will literally feel like my life is going to be amazing, or I will have the worst life possible. Like, it feels so extreme. That's why you have been so careful about this decision, and that's why you have maybe even procrastinated making a decision, because it's serious. Like, I don't know. What does this decision affect? What area of their life does it affect the most? Sixth house, service. It's going to affect your job the most, which makes sense. What other area of their life is this decision going to affect? And I kind of felt earlier that it felt like a job. It just feels like job. That's basically all it feels like. Okay, what can they do to feel at ease in their current situation? Ooh, that came flying out. We have the Seven of Wands. Fight for what it is that you want. Like, if you decide to go in a particular direction and you notice that there's a lot of obstacles, you may be tempted to be like, maybe I should just choose the other thing because it might be easier. No. Once you make a decision, stick with it, because it seems like even the right decision is going to have a lot of obstacles and barriers. Do not see that as a reason to change your mind. And even if people on the outside are saying, I don't know, like, pay attention to what's right for you, because it feels like this situation is one of those situations that what other people say can either lead you in the complete right direction or the completely wrong direction. Okay, and it's going to be hard to tell which is which. That's what's so difficult about this situation. It feels like everything is shrouded. The energy is so shrouded. You don't know which way is up and which way is down. So just pay attention to that. I know I said earlier that like someone may come in with a piece of information that can change your mind, but just remember that one person may say a great thing about one particular direction and another person may say something completely awful about that direction. So it's up to you to decide and to parse through the information and figure out what is actually right for me. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. Someone can tell you a million things about a particular direction. At the end of the day, it's your freaking life, okay? Then we have the Hierophant. Yeah, this is like, even this feels like sticking to the decision that you make. And let me tell you something. When you make the decision that is the right one, you are going to have people who are like, I don't know why you would choose that. So do not think that that is a sign that you made the wrong decision. It could be, but it could not be. That's what I'm saying about the situation. In every way, you're going to have people who support you and people who disagree. That's why it's so important to know yourself on such a deep level to make the right decision in this situation. But yeah, it's not going to be until later on when people realize, hey, you actually ended up making the right decision. Maybe it's a good thing you didn't listen to me. But it's going to take a while for people to get to that point. So do not be swayed by the dissenters. So one dissenter out of 1,000 might be correct. We don't know which one that is. So just listen to yourself. I'm going to pull some more cards afterwards about how you can listen to yourself more, and maybe what are some signs that a particular direction is the right one. But I have a feeling that those cards may also be a little bit more vague, because this whole reading, the whole point of it being vague is that you have to know yourself on such a deep level to even feel like you are 1% comfortable and confident in your decision. You know what I mean? We have the Knight of Cups. I feel like whatever direction you choose, even if everything about it isn't perfect, it's going to feel perfect to you, because you know you made it. You know you made that decision by listening to yourself. You know you made that decision by being true to yourself. And that's everything, you know? And I feel like whatever work environment it is, people are going to love you there. They're going to have a lot of respect for you. And whether you're like a man or a woman, non-binary, whatever, like you are going to be treated like top dog, not because you're like better than everyone, but just because you're such an amazing person and it's clear to everyone that you are. I just feel like you shine very brightly. Even if you don't think you do, even if you don't think there's anything special about you, there is. We have the Page of Swords. I think one of the reasons why you are so special is because you don't see yourself as special. That's a part of why you're so amazing. Because you know there are some people who like they sit all day talking about how special they are, but it's like sometimes it's so much more beautiful to meet someone who you know is special but doesn't act like it. And I feel like that's you, okay? Let me put some of these off to the side. Put these over here. Okay, so now I'm going to look at like how you can be more confident in this decision. Or no, how can they know themselves on a deeper level? What do they need to know? What do they need to do to know and understand themselves on a deeper level? We have ambition. Yeah, like when you know what it is that you want, that makes it very easy. That makes it, I'm not going to say very easy, but it makes it a little bit easier to go in the direction that's actually right for you. How can they know what they want? Patience. This is Temperance. I feel like this is kind of saying that in order to know what you do want, you have to know what you don't want. Okay, so it's great for you to be focusing your time on figuring out what you want, but because you're so stuck right now, it might be easier to just write down everything you don't want. Okay, that can make it easier to figure out what you do want. We have, moving on, you have to be willing to leave your comfort zone in order to make the decision that's right for you. Don't think to yourself, option A requires less sacrifice and compromise, so I'm just going to go with option 2 or option B, you know, because that might not be the right option. There are some times when the right option is the one that doesn't involve sacrifices, but not all the time. It's really just about you being open. You being open, but also being strategic. Those are like the two energies that you need to step into in order to know yourself enough to make the decision that's right for you. Okay, let's get some. How can they start? How can they learn to know themselves on a deeper level? We have Stargazer, set yourself higher. That goes along with ambition. It's like, do not sell yourself short and do not settle. Okay? And at the bottom of the deck, we have be open to healing information. I said earlier that someone's going to come in with information that can help you, but it might be hard, especially if you have a million people in your ear all telling you their own opinions. It's going to be hard to figure out which person has the right idea or the right opinion. Okay? But yeah, do not sell yourself short. That's going to be one of the things that you need to do in order to make the right decision, because you might think to yourself, oh, you know, that's going to be too much work, or I don't think I'll be able to do that. And that may actually end up being the path that's right for you. Don't be afraid of being a beginner, okay? Because I think that the path that is right for you is going to require you to be a beginner, to feel like you're starting over, even if you already feel like you've surpassed the point of being a beginner. That's why that option may not seem like the one that you want to be a part of. Seven of Cups. Even this is like you have choices, like you have options. I did not shuffle these well. I'm seeing like two cards together that I just used in the last reading. Like another way you're going to make the right, oh my god, how do I say this? A skill you need to learn to be able to understand yourself and make the right decision is knowing that even when there are a million options in front of you, you need to have enough confidence to say, this one thing is what's right for me, okay? Because I think that Spirit's trying to say that the goal is not to make it blatantly obvious that one option isn't right for you. The goal is for you to know yourself enough to choose the right option. Even though I know that what I just said sounds the same, but it's very different. Let me see if I can rephrase it. Right, if you have 10 options, right, and they all have like the same amount of pros and cons, Spirit doesn't want you to get bogged down by the fact that they have the same number of pros and cons. Spirit wants you to say, and Spirit wants you to know yourself enough to almost feel like you're being gravitated towards a particular option, instead of feeling a heap of anxiety because of how many options there are. Like, you don't have to whittle the options down to 2 in order to make the right decision. And Spirit could also be saying that sometimes having as many decisions as this or more might be easier. It might be easier to make the right decision in those cases than when you only have like 2 options, okay? So yeah, like Spirit's saying, if you know yourself enough, you're always going to make the right option, or you're always going to make the right decision, even when there are a million options in front of you. We have the Ten of Swords. Yeah, like, you're not going to win by looking at all the options and thinking about how they are all so appealing. The way that you win is by knowing yourself and knowing your own energy. This is at the bottom of the deck. When you know yourself, this doesn't scare you, having a whole bunch of options, okay? We have the Three of Wands. Another way that you can like begin to learn more about yourself enough to make the right decision is to, like I said before, be more open. Look in the direction that you wouldn't normally consider. I think that's where you're going to find information, or just find the right direction. Look in places you wouldn't normally look. Even this feels like that. I know we had Temperance out here earlier too. Yeah, Temperance. Now we have Temperance out here twice. Look in the direction you wouldn't normally look. And that's where you're going to find the option that is right for you. It might not be blatantly obvious at first, but once you dip your toes in, it will be blatantly obvious that that's the right decision. But you have to open yourself up. You can't do things and see things the way you've always done and seen them, and expect to make the decision that'll change your life or make your life better. Sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone. I feel like this is one of those situations where it's imperative to do so. Okay, let's get some advice for the end. Ooh, that came out quickly. Shaman, trust in higher forces. If you don't believe in higher forces, that's okay. Just disregard that. Let's get another one. We have Moon, take note of intuitive messages. Another thing, if you don't believe that, because I like to respect everyone's decision. Not everyone believes in like God, and not everyone believes in like intuition and things like that. So I try to be as respectful as possible. Let me just try to pull another card that doesn't relate to that as much, to be respectful of people who, you know, think differently. Snake, shuttled skin. Perfect. So I'm going to read the first two first. So trust in higher forces, take note of intuitive messages. That's pretty self-explanatory. If you feel like you're being pulled in a particular direction and that pull sort of feels like it's unrelated to your own personal opinions and feelings, look in that direction for a little while and see what happens, right? It may surprise you how appealing it seems once you actually dig into it. And then snake, shed old skin. I feel like even this is saying, like, don't do what you've always been doing. It's time to do something different. It's time to show up in the world as a new person. And that's going to require you to go in a direction that sort of feels like one you would never usually go in, you know? Surrender your fear of intimacy. You are ready to let love in, compassionately identify and begin to release any patterns that stop you from opening your heart. So another thing about being open, I think that it's going to be like, even intimacy is like knowing, that's like a deep knowing about yourself and others, you know what I mean, in order to have that type of intimacy. So it just goes along with what I've been saying. There could be like a relationship coming in, even though this wasn't focused on that. You may end up working with people, and it's important for you to know how to open up your heart in order to, you know, just work with people in the best way possible. We have surrender, stubbornness. If you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. I've just been saying you need to be more open. I'm not even going to explain that because it's going to get repetitive because I've been saying that this whole reading. Surrender, procrastination. Now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Take action. Taking action will attract success. Another thing I've been saying the whole reading. So I'm just going to leave that here. Thank you so much for watching this reading. I hope you have an amazing day. And this is Imperial's Oracle signing off. Bye.